an under $1,000 speaker contending for best in class, Class A integrated amps, new small Magnepans, seductive single driver speakers, marble cabinets, semi-affordable tubes, and more from the 2024 Capitol Audio Fest in Washington, D.C. Jason Methvessel and I recently attended the Capitol Audio Fest show in Washington, D.C. This show has evolved to be a fixture on the calendar, with plenty of new and intriguing equipment and occasionally the chance to hear a good demo or some interesting music. In this video, we're simply going to provide a quick list of products we saw and trends we noticed that captured our attention. At these large and busy shows, you definitely can't see everything, and there's not the time to listen to enough music to really assess what is on display. Andrew Quint and Alan Taffel were also at the show, and they will publish their comments in the Absolute Sound magazine in a little bit. Very importantly, rooms in hotels tend to be too small or too large, and rooms are dished out by history, so they often don't really fit with the equipment that people have in the particular year that they're there. So relatively few distributors, dealers, or OEMs have anything like an ideal room. So take any comments about sound as rough impressions at best. Okay, preamble aside, here are selected highlights from the Capitol Audio Fest. First, the Chesky Audio LC1. These small, about 1 cubic foot, 1 by 1 by 1, stand mount speakers come from the mind of Luca Chesky, son of composer and recording engineer David Chesky. At $998 per pair, with good imaging and a rich tonal balance, the LC1s are definitely on our must-review list. Next up, we have Advanced Paris. Advanced Paris showed the MyConnect 250. This streaming integrated amp incorporates a CD drive. With the typical full-featured input and output array of Advanced Paris integrated amps, the MyConnect looks like it really can be the complete center of a clean and attractive 3-box audio system when paired with speakers. Or a 4-box system if you add a turntable or a TV, both of which are accommodated with the correct inputs on the MyConnect 250. Price is $42.99. Then we have the new Magnepan introduction, the MCR loudspeaker. Magnepan showed a new speaker that squeezes the wider bass mid-range panel and the ribbon tweeter of the 1.7i into an LRS-sized package. The MCR is intended for stereo in smaller rooms or for Atmos multi-channel systems. Magnepan showed the MCR that way with left, right, and height channels in an Atmos demo. Atmos limitations aside, the sound had a noticeably smoother and more polished aspect than many theater-style demos. The price is estimated to be in the mid-$7,000 range per pair. Okay, then we saw the PMC Active 25i speakers. For $69.99, including electronic crossover and built-in amplifiers, the 22i version of these stand-mount speakers sounded open and punchy. A nifty feature is that consumers can buy the passive version and then upgrade at a later date to the active version easily, as consumers can do it themselves, and then gain the benefits of an electronic crossover and the compactness of built-in amplifiers. The premium for this is relatively modest, not much more than the difference in price between the passive and active version. With a streaming DAC with a volume control, these could make for a high-performance 3-box setup. We visited Via Blue. German cable manufacturers Via Blue showed their nicely flexible cabling. Along these same usability matters lines, we inspected the Via Blue cable lifters. The Rocket XL can hold and separate 2 cables with retention bands. The whole idea here is to limit what Via Blue calls Kabelsalat, which is a pretty straightforwardly translated cable salad, or we might say rat's nest. Not only is Kabelsalat ugly, but proper dressing should address EMI. For $1,310 for a set of 8 lifters, this seems like a reasonable insurance policy for your expensive cable loom. Then we visited Unison Research to see the 6X Black Edition paired with Opera Quinta speakers. These new products from Italy sounded rich and dynamic, fed by an Aurender streamer. The Unison Research integrated amp is a full tube design with 40 watts per channel and is priced at $69.99. The Opera Quintas are floor standing, and they'll be available later this year at a price in the $7,000 per pair range. Heading off in a different direction, not so much in terms of price, but definitely in terms of size and scale, we listen to the Voxative Alberic array system. These new speakers are a modular design. You can start with a pair of Hegel V10 stand mount size speakers for $5,900. You can then add more Hegel V10 modules and or add the Alberic 2 woofer module with 500 watts of integrated power. The Hegel V10 is a single driver concept, and the Alberic 2 is an unusual ripole-dipole woofer design. The 100 dB sensitivity speakers were demonstrated with the Voxative T211 integrated amp, which has 12 watts per channel. The sound was controlled and dynamic. The full array is priced at $30,900, but of course you can build smaller versions to keep the price down. Also note that the ripole woofers are available separately, potentially for pairing with other speaker brands. Next we have Sikora Acoustics with, frankly, something of a surprise. Sikora showed a new line of 5 speakers priced between $8,000 and $16,000 per pair, which, if you know Sikora, is a significant downshift in price point. The sound of the entry-level MRB model, driven by vac tube electronics, was dynamic, balanced, and capable of high output in a very big room. We heard the largest MRC3 model with its high sensitivity of 92 dB, and it worked well with moderate tube power from vac. Cabinets in this line are marble rather than Sikora's customary granite, but the base finish and optional versions seemed quite attractive. Fitting in with this theme of slightly higher efficiency, we saw the Esoteric Class A integrated amplifier with a new 64-bit streaming DAC. The Esoteric F01 is a pure Class A integrated amplifier that sells for $18,000. Pure Class A has technical advantages from the perspective of low distortion, but it's pretty inefficient, and that typically raises costs because you need a lot of heat sinks, and it lowers power. The F01 is a 30 watt per channel amplifier, which is a good number for speakers over 90 dB sensitivity. When fed by the new Esoteric N01 XD SE network DAC, which is priced at $22,000, the sound was crystalline and dynamic. Now headed off into a strange and unusual world, which some of you may flip out over, but others of you may be very attracted to. We went to the Scott Walker room to see the Audio Realignment Technologies plates. These EMF and RFI treatments were developed by a former DoD contractor and use rare earth materials. We were treated to an A/B test of sorts, and the results were, at least for the scientist and me, disturbing. The plates made a difference akin to comparing more and less compressed recordings. These are not inexpensive, so you would want to consider them only in highly developed systems. But Scott Walker can demo them in your system easily. The plates are simply placed around your gear. Also note, this should be a once-in-a-lifetime investment thanks to the simple setup that isn't electronically connected to your system. Back to the Class A theme, we saw the Accuphase E800 Class A integrated amplifier. The E800 is a substantial and beautifully finished full Class A 50 watt per channel integrated amp. Priced at $19,975, the sound was fed by an MSB DAC and played through Stenheim Illumine 2.5 speakers. We heard a gentle, detailed, dynamic, or powerful sound as fit the music we tried. Very nice. We then visited AGD Amplification. AGD showed a new streaming DAC digital preamp, the Andante Mark II. Priced at $12,999, it has a new D to A converter design. As usual, the AGD room was sounding relaxed and clear, leveraging its GaN-FET amplifier technology from the Audion mono amps that we've enjoyed in the past. These were playing through single driver speakers with open baffle woofers. We visited Sound Lab to see the G9 7C full range electrostatic speaker after a positive experience at Southwest Audio Fest with a smaller version. This is a big speaker, which helps to deliver low frequencies by reducing the dipole cancellation frequency. The height, which can be matched to your ceiling dimensions, also gives acoustic benefits. Price is $65,900 per pair. In the YG Acoustics room, using Belcanto Electronics, YG showed the Sonia 3.3 speakers. and they use the new Belcanto Black DAC control system and MA1200 monoblock power amps with 375 watts per channel into 8 ohms. As you can see, the speakers are quite large for the typical hotel room, and yet the sound was smooth and detailed. This is another example of needing to leave your expectations at the door. Heading to the Jansen room, David Jansen showed a new version of the Valentina hybrid electrostatic speaker. David has added 3 full-range drivers to the sides and rear of the speaker to open up the sound space. The key is that he's engineered a time delay for these drivers so that the benefits of the directive electrostatic panel are maintained for imaging. We were skeptical, but clarity and definition and sound staging of a directive speaker combined with the big sense of recorded space was really very well done. Now, of course, we have another category called Dang. We're the absolute sound, and yes, some of these systems have very high prices, but the sound quality, which is really what we're about, is also very high. The first system in this category was based on the von Schweikert VR30s with active bass. The VR30 is a new design with passive mid-range and high frequencies and 3 powered woofers. The powered section is adjustable to suit the user's room and is connected to the high-level signal from the upper range amplifier. Shown in a beautiful Porsche chalk gray finish, these are priced at $59,000. Driven by Westminster Labs Class A power and a Westminster preamp fed by a Lampezator Horizon 360 DAC, the VR30 system was in the top tier of demos for sound quality, with especially good imaging and bandwidth. At Audio Group Denmark, Borison showed the new flagship of the T-series loudspeakers, the T5. These contain an amazing bevy of technologies from the fertile mind of Michael Borison, including ultra-thin planar materials, exotic metals, and low hysteresis motors. Priced at $225,000 and powered by the compact but mighty 300 watt per channel AVIC U588 streaming DAC amplifier, which is also new and priced at $35,000. The sound was especially superb in terms of transient power and control. Sound was also quite well balanced. Returning to the Akora VAC and SAT room, Akora once again demonstrated the big granite VRC speakers that we've heard in the past and praised. They're priced at $218,000 and were shown with VAC Statement 450 IQ power amps and a VAC front end, and fed by the new SAT turntable arm combination with a Lyra Atlas Lambda cartridge. Note that the SAT arm was used on 2 of the top flight systems in this section. Also, this is the best we've heard from the VRCs, with a spacious presentation, loads of detail, and lovely tonality. The dynamics on a Blood, Sweat, and Tears LP from 1969 were in the wow category. Then, a staple of this section at show reports was the MBL room together with United Home Audio. MBL demonstrated the relatively new C41 network player, which we've recently reviewed, a streaming DAC with a high-resolution volume control. Priced at $11,000, the C41 was connected to the renowned 101E speakers and powered by the giant MBL 9011 monoblocks, making for a roughly $240,000 system. The sound, again, was remarkable in its ability to create an image completely detached from the speakers. Jason said he tried as hard as he could to see the sound source, and he just couldn't do it. The clarity and dynamics were also impressive. MBL then demoed this system with copies of master tapes through a United Home Audio Super Deck. Holy schlamoli! A phenomenal reminder of how much farther recordings can go. Heading over to the Tidal audio room, The Voice That Is had a world premiere of the Tidal for Bugatti MP1 preamp and the North American premiere of the Tidal for Bugatti MC1 digital controller. These were connected via Tidal Ferios monoblock amps and turnbull cables to the Tidal Akira loudspeakers. The front end saw Equitech balanced power with a signal from the Doman Helix 1 turntable with an SAT CF1 arm, again, and the airtight PC1 Supreme cartridge. The sound was a rare combination of audiophile impressive with balanced dynamics and resolution, together with a, musically right sensibility that is often missing in show demos. We're critics, and here, criticism was hard. I should mention that the MP1 preamplifier demonstrated a technology that I hope we see more of. The preamp offers passive switching of a DAC that has a volume control, like the Tidal MC1 or the MBLC41 that I mentioned a little bit ago, or many other DACs. This allows a lossless DAC volume control implementation to be uncolored by preamp circuitry, while also allowing the optimization of phono circuits from a cartridge through to the amplifier. Volume control is handled by the respective boxes. Nice, and I think maybe the future. I wanted to add a category that I'm going to call oldies but goodies. We're fond of saying that progress in audio doesn't always proceed in some predictable linear fashion like it does with Moore's Law powered industries like computing. So we heard a few demos of products that really aren't new, but still reminded us of why we were impressed in the first place. First, there's Theoretica's Bach SP processor. Even in the generic listener mode, this spatial distortion reduction and acoustic correction system deals with problems inherent in the stereo architecture and in real rooms. On the spatial front, there's very little else like it. And low frequencies from the Janssen hybrid electrostatic speakers were also surprisingly deep, but not bloated. On a similar front, in a different way, there are the Linkwitz LX521.4 speakers. These have been around for a while. They're full-range dipoles, and they utilize a technology developed by the late, great Siegfried Linkwitz to enhance sound staging beyond the norm. The LX521.4 gets the image off the speakers in a very rare and, I think, very desirable way. All right, in case you've been waiting for it, we do have a best of show. Doug White, of The Voice That Is, arranged a live concert in the Wilson Theater on Friday evening of the show. Joe Block's Open Heart Trio, with Joe Block on piano, Mikey Migliori on bass, and Aaron Seberg on drums, played a series of variations on work by Miles Davis. They were musically inventive, and the sound was impressive, natural, and dynamic. Heck, dynamic is really an understatement here. This was a reminder that we have some distance to go to generate the full feeling of the live performance. It was clearly the best sound of the show, and a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this quick coverage of the Capitol Audio Fest show in Washington, D.C. If you have, please check in the description for links to subscribe to our various publications. And we thank you for watching and hope to see you again soon.